There's a kind of psychology carried by people who grew up in the 1970s that's almost impossible to translate to anyone born after the 2000s. It was a childhood built from silence and freedom, risk and responsibility, the kind of upbringing that would get most parents reported today. And yet those years forged a mindset that still shows up in how they think, argue, trust, love, and endure. They were raised with almost no surveillance. Vanish for 5 hours. No one panicked. No phone. No GPS. Just a bike, a couple of friends, and a loosely enforced order to be home by dark. That looseness did something important. It trained a natural self-belief, the instinct to navigate without constant guidance. People from that era still carry this strange, sturdy inner sentence, "I'll figure it out," even when they truly don't know how yet. To really understand the 70s mindset, you have to look at the parents who shaped it. Many moms and dads had lived through World War II or were born in its shadow. They saw real fear and real scarcity, and they learned to survive without show. They didn't narrate their pain, they shouldered it. Without speeches, they passed that survival code to their kids. That's why people who grew up in the 70s seem to mature early. Responsibility wasn't a module, it was the air. You helped. You fixed things. You tried before you asked. If something broke, you repaired, not replaced. If plans collapsed, you adapted. The idea that, "someone will come help me," wasn't the baseline. You were the help. They watched parents work long hours without complaint, neighbors support each other without documenting it, adults carrying the weight quietly. That environment imprinted a few lessons: life is serious, but you can handle it, problems are normal, responsibility isn't punishment, it's part of existing. Dependability wasn't a personality quirk, it was the minimum. Even now, they often register as older than their age, not in body, but in mind, because their maturity didn't come from manuals or threads, it came from watching real life up close, unfiltered. There's something poetic about that cohort. They were a bridge. One foot planted in the old world, slower, rougher, more local, more tactile. The other stepping into a new world, faster, louder, digitized. They remember life without internet, without screens, without the constant hum, and they're watching newer generations drown in it. Talking to someone from that era often feels different. They tend to be grounded, present, uninterested in performing for invisible judges. The confidence you feel from them didn't come from slogans, it came from childhood, struggle, and responsibilities accepted before they had the language to name them. They embody a simple rule you can't teach with a quote: strength doesn't come from being told, it comes from being tested. Now glance over at those born after 2000. Many grew up with a device in hand before their sentences were complete. Notifications, videos, messages, timelines, inputs stacked on inputs. Their brains have been running hot since childhood. You can see the imprint everywhere: attention that shatters under strain, quick fatigue, a baseline overwhelm from absorbing more information in a day than some 70s kids saw in a week. Social media brings connection and pressure in the same breath. Comparison happens on autopilot. You can be doing fine and still feel behind because the feed always shows someone ahead. The mind never fully idles because the phone never stops beckoning. Even rest becomes scrolling, which isn't rest at all. This generation is brilliant, creative, open, fast to learn, but also mentally taxed in ways older cohorts never had to face. They're growing up in a world moving faster than the human nervous system evolved to handle, trying to survive at one alert at a time. So here's the honest question: which generation had it harder, and why? Did the 70s kids carry weight too soon, or are the post-2000s carrying a different kind of weight that never puts itself down? Tell me where you land. Were you born before 1980 or after it? I want to know which generation you're a part of, and how it shaped your mind. If this shifted your lens, subscribe and stay. Let's keep making sense of our generations together.